Patriots have always struggled, and I think that this is when there starts to be some fire sale. This is when things start to get crazy for New England. They're what 2-4 at this point. Two and
So we finished Q2 2-2, and then we just lost all of those. So we're 2-6.
It's not looking good for the Patriots, but I do think that they start to win some games.
They do because start of November, this is when winning matters. We are at home versus the Commanders.
Yeah, that's a win.
That's a win.
We got Sam Howell. We don't know what we get from Sam Howell. You have a team that is in disarray. There's a lot of moving pieces, and Bill Belichick, inexperienced quarterback. I'm not going to bet against him there.
And then thankfully we're saved again because we stay at home for the second week in a row versus rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson and the Indianapolis Colts. Bill Belichick has a lot of success versus first-year quarterbacks, especially with a defense as loaded as it is this year, especially at corner if they're able to go out there and draft one in the first round. What do you think this game goes?
So there's two outcomes to this game. They get annihilated by Anthony Richardson because Anthony Richardson, is all he says he should be. Or Anthony Richardson looks horrible. I'm going to go closer to the second option because Colts, not a lot of weapons for him. He's kind of a raw prospect. He might not even be starting this game, potentially, if they do decide to rock Gardner Minshew as the starter. I'm going to go with the Patriots winning this game.
Patriots winning. All right.
Taking care of business.
Our season is getting back on track, and then we have another very winnable game. After 2 home games, we go on the road, but we're only going down the road to New York to the Giants.
Okay, ask me this. Bill Belichick, greatest defensive head coach of all time, and he has the privilege to take care of one of the worst quarterbacks in NFL history in Daniel Jones. Can he prevent Daniel Jones from tripping on a 70-yard run? Maybe. I think he can,
Yeah.
especially when he has to lock down with his favorite new little first-round corner, blocking down Darius Slayton, blocking down Darren Waller, who's probably going to be hurt by
Darren
him.
Waller's not going to be playing this game.
He'll most likely be hurt, unfortunately.
Saquon might be out too because I don't want to wish it, but like last year is not the norm for Saquon.
Unfortunately. And by then, the Giants' season will be over, so I have them winning.
And then, so back home, we have 3 home games in this quarter. We are back home versus team we have a lot of success against. Our friend Devin's favorite team, the Chargers.
The Chargers, there are certain things that I will not predict against, and I'm not going to predict against Bill Belichick against the Chargers. Just doesn't, no matter what, no matter how good the Chargers are, Patriots just own them.
Okay. So back on track here. We've now won 4 games. So the New England Patriots are currently 6-6.
Yep.
So rough start to start the season, but we're getting back on track and
back in the playoff picture.
Next quarter on the road, Thursday night football versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Something about the Pittsburgh Steelers, Patriots. I think the Steelers are going to be the better team this year, but however, Bill Belichick versus Mike Tomlin, there's a record to be said there. So I'm going to pick the Patriots there. This is going to be classic 2000s kind of gritty, tough defensive game, but I have the Patriots prevailing here.
Okay, so now we're 7-6 heading into week 14 where we go back home to New England hosting the Kansas City Chiefs.
And they lose their winning streak. I don't see them beating the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes owns this conference, owns this entire league. I'm not going to bet against Andy Reid.
All right, so 7-7, still in the hunt, fighting for a playoff spot. We have to go all the way to Denver to on Christmas Eve to face the new look Denver Broncos and Sean Payton.
So this is when you really got to go at a whim because this is a lot of what ifs with this Broncos team. Who am I going to bet? Sean Payton, offensive guru. Can he fix Russ? There's a lot of questions to be said here. Defensively, I trust the Broncos. This is going to be an ugly game. I see another game similar to the Steelers game, but I have the Broncos prevailing.
You're the Broncos prevailing. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're losing that game. Drop down to 7-8, which is not good because we have another road game before we go back to New England. We're stopping at home versus the Buffalo Bills.
Well, I already said here that the Patriots are not going to beat the Bills this season. I think they're going to get swept. So give me the Bills to win this game. Patriots season looking like it's a lost cause.
Now we're 7-9. Last week of the season, hosting the New York Jets.
And this is the nail in the coffin. This is when they know that changes need to be made in New England, because after 16 consecutive wins against the Jets, this is when it finally comes to an end. The Jets finally beat them. Aaron Rodgers has gone into rhythm. I think by then the Jets will have, if this isn't the game they secure the playoff spot, they're in the playoffs. So I have the Jets winning this game, and they finally get this win against the Jets, and now the Patriots are 7-10.
Patriots finished 7-10. Honestly, that's probably the most accurate record we could come up with for the Patriots. And the fact that non-biasly, we went game through game when they were on the road, stopping on the home. Rough stretch at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year for the Patriots. Get a little bit of a break in the middle of the season, but yeah, that's exactly how I would see their season going. I feel like most people would, and I'm sure there'll be a few wins and a few losses that we won't expect to see them get.
Yeah, I think their range is between 7 and 9 wins, kind of like how it's been the last 4 years without Brady. But I suspect them to be closer to what they were last year. I mean, I like that they got Bill O'Brien, but they still don't have any weapons. And you have a division that's loaded with weapons, loaded with talent. This whole conference is loaded with talent, and the Patriots have maybe the 11th or 12th best roster. So I just don't see it. I don't see it at all.
All right.
But while we're here, I'll pull up the Bills schedule.
I have the Jets ready to go if you want to stay on it.
Yeah, let's stay on the Jets. We talked about them.
Yeah, so let's stay on the Jets. So have your first schedule down. Then I'll
Yeah.
put your second one. Then we're gonna keep track of these and then show at the beginning of the year and the end of the year when we make our predictions, and that'll be how we make our playoff picture.
Yeah. So for the Jets, my first little blurb about them is I have a feeling they're going to start a little clunky. They
Yeah.
have a quarterback that can be a little rigid, that has trouble adapting the wide receivers. You kind of started, I think a prime example last year was with Christian Watson.
Right.
Didn't want to work with the young receivers, kind of was getting slowly integrated. And then when they finally did, they started to catch some stride, got hot at the end of the season. Didn't quite make the playoffs because the Lions got that win against them in Week 18, but pretty close. But yeah, I have a feeling the Jets are going to start a little clunky. And then as we get towards the middle of the season, that's when they start to strive and start to make some noise for themselves.
Yeah, I agree. So we have the first game on 9/11, Great American Holiday. We have the Buffalo Bills taking on the New York Jets, and the Jets host them in that game at home.
So this is a game, a lot of emotions in the air, a lot of expectations for Aaron Rodgers. And in this case, I want to go with a team that has some continuity, has some flow. I'm picking the Bills to win this game. You have Josh Allen. This is year 4 now, I believe, with Stephon Diggs. He has the system in place. I can see that the lack of chemistry with the receivers starting to affect them. So I have the Bills winning week 1.
And then we have Aaron Rodgers going on the road versus a team he owns in the Dallas Cowboys, going to Jerry World. Aaron Rodgers, first big game with the Jets. This game will be electric. Really, 2 huge matchups to start out the year. See them getting this one?
Yeah. Again, I talked about Bill Belichick with the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers, there's 2 teams that I'm never going to bet against him with, and that's the Cowboys and the Bears. Give me him beating the Cowboys handedly.
And then we already picked this game, so I'm just going to put this as a loss for continuity's sake. Them at home versus the Patriots. You said the Patriots would go ahead and win this in the last video. Make sure you go check out the video down below where we do the Patriots schedule, and you'll be able to see that Brick went ahead and picked the Jets to win just for this video. Any other extra things you want to say?
Yeah, Patriots, as they catch in the stride. Jets, I still think that first month's going to be a little clunky. I do think they're going to be the better team, but at the end of the day, give me the Patriots to win this game as they do on the Jets.
Okay. And then we're staying home versus the Kansas City Chiefs, that heralded matchup on Sunday Night Football of Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes. How do you see this one going?
Classic matchup. I mean, this is what we watch the games for. But I trust the Chiefs to pull out the win here. I think this is the game that we start to see Aaron Rodgers start to piece things together. But I just don't think they have the firepower that the Chiefs will have. And I just don't think they have the play calling. They do have Nathaniel Hackett as their offensive coordinator. We'll see how that goes for them. It worked for them in Green Bay, but how does that transfer over? But this is the continuity that they're going to begin to have.
So Q1, we have the Jets starting out 1-3. I feel like a lot of people can see that coming, especially they have a lot of tough games in here. It's not going to be easy. It starts to get a little bit easier though, and a team that wants to trade for Aaron Rodgers is hosting him in Denver and the Denver Broncos.
Again, I think this is when the Jets start to take stride. I have them winning this game against Denver. A lot of question marks with this Denver team. This is one of those games I can look back to and be like, how did I pick the Jets? But at the same time, a lot of question marks. How good will Sean Payton be with Russell Wilson? Or better yet, how good is Russell Wilson going to be with Sean Payton?
Right.
That defense is going to be great, but at the same time, the Jets, this is week 6, I believe you said. So by then, the continuity should be there. They should start to get a rhythm going. That defense will be stout. That run game will be stout. Receivers are stout. I like the Jets.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be week 5, but then we're going back home to face the Philadelphia Eagles.
It's going to be a tough game. I will pick the Eagles here. This is one of those games. Now we're entering week 6. We start to enter games where, we start to figure out what these teams are. The Jets starting 1-3, they have a little bit of ignition there. I still don't think they have the firepower to stop the Eagles.
Okay. And then staying in New York, but on the road, Aaron Rodgers versus the New York Football Giants. I already know what you're going to say, but
you already know what I'm about to say. The Giants got very lucky last year. They had a lot of close wins. Luckily for them, or should I say not so lucky for them, this isn't going to be close because Daniel Jones is 16 touchdowns last year. When he scores 12 this year and he can't do anything because he's one of the worst quarterbacks to ever play football, we're going to be like, wow, why did we give him $160 million over 4 years?
Yeah.
So Jets win.
And then third game in a row in New York, this time at home, but we're going to be going up against the Los Angeles Chargers, and this is a team, we'll talk about them when we go over the schedule, kind of lost their way a little bit this offseason and in that playoff game versus the Jaguars. What are your thoughts with this game? Jets hosting the Chargers.
This is a tough game to predict because these two teams, I feel like they're in a similar place, meaning I feel like I put them in a same tier. Like there's the Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Jags, and then the second tier is the Chargers, Jets, and some other teams so we can throw in there. But if I had to predict, what's the Jets record at that point?
Can't tell you. I just want you to feel the game.
Feel of the game. Well, I like the Jets defense more, and I trust Aaron Rodgers more than Justin Herbert, although I do think Herbert is more talented at this point.
Yeah.
Give me the Jets in this game.
Yeah, I was going to jump in because I do think the Jets at home, especially this is going to be a November game against a West Coast team. It's first week of November, and then you also have a really good Jets defense, which I feel like a lot of people are underrating just how good it was last year, where they kind of had a chance to make a playoff push with Mike White, as great as he was in his 300-yard passing games, and Zach Wilson at the helm for the most part. So I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be a huge improvement for this team. Garrett Wilson's stock, it's his second year too. That second year boom for receivers, I feel like is going to be huge with him. He's already comparing him to Devontae Adams. So I feel like if you're a Jets fan, this is where you start to get hyped up about your season because you just finished Q2. Q1, you finished 1-3, but that's okay. We're now 4-4 in November. Now we start to make our playoff push. So 4-4 for the Jets.
And I just want to say real quick, Garrett Wilson, if you're not trying to target him in fantasy, you're a fool. He's going to be top 5 wide receiver in fantasy football, 100%.
Yeah, I agree. And then week 9, we have the Jets going on the road to face off kind of those tier 2, borderline tier 3 team in Las Vegas. Jimmy Garoppolo versus Aaron Rodgers, maybe the two handsomest quarterbacks in the NFL squaring off. Who has the